Welcome to the Executive Guide to Artificial Intelligence, an original content series from businessleaders.ai. This episode, the AI Business Canvas, is a technique that helps you create and communicate your AI strategy. This is Part 3, where we explain the different interrelated blocks that make up the AI Business Canvas.
Next, we look at how we create value. At the heart of every AI project is data. What data will your AI innovation need? Does it already exist, or will you need to create new sources of data? Where is it generated and where will the data reside? How many sources of data do you have? Think about different types of data that can be connected together through your model to make it useful. Do you have a time series stream, or maybe sensors generating the data? Can you find open source datasets that you can use? Is it structured, in a database or application, or unstructured, as documents or information? What about social data like customer feedback or reviews? Who owns this data? Do you have permission to use it? What about privacy and security of your data? We'll talk more about these aspects in our operations block. Let's categorize this using a popular model. Think about the 5 V's of your data. Volume. How big is the data? Is it enough to train and test your AI models? Variety. Does your data cover all the intended scenarios in which your AI innovation will be used? Velocity. How rapidly does your data change or get generated? Veracity. How accurate is your data? What are potential sources or bias in the data? And finally, value. What makes your data valuable? Will you need to enhance or transform your data? This is a great segue into our next block, AI transformations. This is a critical block where the AI magic comes in. Typical first steps involve cleaning the data, filling in missing value and validating the data. You may also be storing the data in clusters or in a specific file system or DataOps platform like FHPE Esmeralda Data Fabric to make it more accessible. Now you need to think about how the data can be used intelligently. What transformations do you need to make to your data? Do you need to aggregate the data to make it more manageable? What trends can you derive from the data? Are you going to use the data to provide real-time information, in batch processing for modeling or forecasting, or use it for predictive maintenance? Do you need to label your data? What exactly is the AI that you intend to do to bring a change from the current state to the transformed state? What AI or machine learning techniques will your data use? Regression, classification, prediction, optimization, simulation, policy generation, recommendations, voice or speech recognition, image recognition or computer vision, natural language generation or processing, sentiment analysis, etc. What machine learning techniques or algorithms do you have in mind in each of the areas below? Supervised learning, unsupervised learning, deep learning, reinforcement learning, generative adversarial networks. You don't have to go too deep at this time, as your technologists, like data scientists and ML engineers, once they are on board, will help develop this further into an architecture. Which leads us to our next block, on what resources you will need to create this value. How much time will it take to deliver a minimum viable product? What resources do you need in your team? Data scientists, ML engineers, developers, project managers, scrum masters. You will need domain or process experts who understand the business potential and workflows. Do you already have the people you need? What about your infrastructure like software and hardware platforms? Will the data and AI models be hosted in your own premises, in the cloud, on location or in the edge or in some hybrid model? Is there a specific AI algorithm to use or license, or will you develop everything from scratch? What libraries, algorithms or APIs are available? How will you operationalize the data and take it from the labs to production? Watch our series on machine learning ops to learn how to do that. What automation can you build in the process? Can you buy or license some critical components? And now on to the cost block, because to get your resources, you will incur costs. Do you need investment, and approximately how much? Where will you get the money from? Do you have one-time costs? What are your variable costs, like maintaining the AI innovation or delivering it to customers? Which resources are the most expensive? Where can you get the investment needed? How will you receive these costs, and in what time frame? What is your return on investment expected to be? In the upcoming revenue block, we will talk about ways to offset these costs so you have a solid business plan.
We hope you enjoyed Part 3 of this executive guide on the AI Business Canvas, from businessleaders.ai. The next part of this episode will focus on the final part, maintaining value. Remember, you can download and adapt this template for your own use under a Creative Commons Attribution license. Contact us at businessleaders.ai with any questions or comments. Hope to see you soon.